Leo Ascendant, Leo Rising, how are you? This is Jean. This is your May 2020 Allastrology. We're going to be talking about the full moon, but we're also going to be talking about all the planets that are going to go retrograde this month. We're going to dip into the north nodes because they are changing signs, and we're going to talk about the Wesak festival, which is an event that occurs every May full moon, the first full moon in May, because sometimes we have two full moons, but every year, once a year, it's the festival of Buddha, basically. So I will go and talk a little bit about that, which explains why this full moon is a big deal, okay? Normally we talk about new moons are a big deal because we have this power of our intention. Well, this is a time of year where we have our emotions on 10, okay, because we have the full moon in Scorpio energy, and we have the sun on the other end in Taurus energy. And Taurus is what I desire, what I want. All right, so it's like we have the power of a new moon in a sense, but then Buddha comes into play here. Now, how does Buddha come into play? I'm going to talk about that. But you want to find out, where's the full moon going to happen in your life? Where is it going to happen in your chart, Leo? What is it that we are detaching from and releasing? And also, where are all these planets going to be going retrograde, and what's going to happen? What area of your life is this happening in? So Leo Ascendant, Leo Rising, let's dive deep into your Allastrology. Leo, first off, your full moon. Let's find your Scorpio energy. Your Scorpio energy is going to be located in your fourth house, typically, okay? If you've got a chart and if any of the degrees I state don't make sense, right? Any of the degrees, any of the dates that you're listening to and you're not sure about something I've said, every once in a while I misspeak, that happens. Just comment and let me know. Comment if you have anything you need clarity on. I am here to answer those questions. This is what I do, okay? So Scorpio in the fourth house. We got to talk about Scorpio energy for a little bit. Its ruler is Pluto energy, all right? Did you catch the other video I put out about Pluto? If you haven't, you want to watch it, I'll attach the link below. Pluto is fear. Pluto is power. Pluto is permanence. Pluto is the phoenix rising. That is Pluto, because it can go down deep, pull something out by the root, get rid of it so it looks like it's dead, like it's not even living anymore, right? And then somehow in the ashes, it's alive. Somehow it's alive. Somehow it rises up and there's life, right? And there's this new thing that becomes, okay? The idea of this life, all of a sudden it looks completely different. Well, that's kind of interesting because that's kind of what we're all going through, right? We're all in the lockdown, we're all in this pandemic and all this stuff, and it's like life has changed. Life as we knew it, right? Like just like after 9/11, our life never returned the same way, right? Traveling completely changed after that. Lots of things completely change. And so we're understanding that Plutonian energy, permanent change, all right? Your Scorpio energy in your fourth house means that there's changes happening in your home because Pluto, right, rules that place. But to get the detail on that, all right, Pluto rules Scorpio, but where's your natal Pluto at, okay? If you know where your natal Pluto is, look at your chart and see what sign it's in and comment that to me and I'll tell you what it means, because then that explains this, a lot of this fourth house to you, right? You may not have any planets in your fourth house, but it's not empty. Okay, it is totally not empty. It will also explain where the transiting Pluto is, all right, and how it's expressing in that place. We all know that the transiting Pluto, the Pluto up in the sky, is in Capricorn energy, okay? And your Capricorn energy is located in your sixth house. This is your health. This is your work, your day-to-day routines, your health habits, right? Sixth house, health and hygiene, right? So Pluto going retrograde, that started its retrograde there at the butt end of April. And now we have this full moon in Scorpio whose ruler is Pluto. So you see there's these underlying themes. And there is nothing more that screams underlying themes than Pluto. All right, Pluto is all about stuff that is below the surface, stuff that's buried deep. It's stuff that it goes to the soul level. Very, very deep, and it could be past life stuff, past life emotions, typically emotions we've had since we were children as well, and things that we're trying to process and maybe heal from. This is, you know, I keep hearing soul, soul, soul. Like this is all about understanding it's time to relinquish our personality desires and allow our soul desires to come through. Allow the soul to control. So the fourth house is my home. The fourth house is where you live. The fourth house is your inner home, your inner sanctum, right? Your inner world, your inner emotional security is your fourth house. Having Scorpio there means you're very private about that, without a doubt. Scorpio is very private because it's so deep. A lot of people say, oh, Scorpio is all about secrets, all about, deceiving. And, a low expression of it would be deceitful. But there's a part of that Scorpio energy because it's so private. And it's private because there's so much fear. Okay? There's fear about being accepted, about being acknowledged and recognized for who they are as they are. There's this fear of, oh my God, if I let you in, you're not going to like me. You're definitely not going to love me. You're not going to accept me. You may even reject me. And so there's that underlying emotional deep fear there, okay? And this is what we're working with. We are all working with that, depending upon where it is in our chart. So for you, it's right in your inner emotional security, your fourth house, your realm of peace. How do I stay peaceful? I stay private. That's how I keep my peace. I keep everything private, right? If you have planets there, that can change this, all right? The full moon, the Wesak full moon, it is the moment, which, by the way, I know, you haven't said the date. It's on May 7th. It is at 1720, okay? The moon will be at 1720 degrees in Scorpio, your fourth house, and the sun will be at 1720 degrees in Taurus. And this is in your 10th house, all right? Your 10th house is your goals and your ambitions, right? It's where you express your best. It's where you feel like you're an authority in the world. Things being beautiful and peaceful, right? Taurian energies. They like things that sound beautiful, that look beautiful, that taste beautiful, that feel beautiful. That's Taurus energy, all right? It's very down to earth. It's very fixed. Scorpio energy is very fixed too. That's another reason why this makes this powerful. We've got these fixed energies, okay? The story is that Buddha understood that our attachments to our desires, brought pain to us. Okay, they made us prisoners. All right, he had this thinking that when we are overly attached to a person or to a thing or to a desire, whatever that may be, that it becomes your master. Right, you're no longer in control, because you're enslaved to it, all right? So he believed that if we could learn to detach, if we could learn to let go and to detach from that which we desire, that we would receive liberation, that we would experience freedom. And that's the theme of this full moon. So when we have a full moon in Scorpio, all right, we want to literally go to the other side, which is your Taurus energy, and that's where your intentions are going to be. That's what we're going to talk about. Taurus is this sign where it has the ability to, it's magnetic, okay? And remember, it's fixed. So when it has a desire, it holds on to it. And almost to the degree, many times, this is kind of lining up with what Buddha said, when you want something so badly and you hold on to it so tightly, you don't realize that you've killed it because you just held on to it. You've squeezed the life right out of it, right? How many times have we done that, right? With relationships or, I don't know, whatever it was that was your desire, wherever your Taurus energy is in your chart, right? So for you, this is in your 10th house, right? If you have a lot of planets there, if you have a lot of planets in Taurus energy, then you would understand this, all right? You would totally relate with this because it intensifies the energy. If you don't have any planets there at all, then typically this would be something that you only see occurring every once in a while. You recognize it within yourself. When we have planets there, it concentrates that energy, and therefore it makes it much more prominent, much more dominant in our life, and it's really obvious. And if we are oblivious to it, well, we're choosing to be oblivious to it, right? But guarantee other folks are like, whoa, they're really aware of it, right? So we're trying to work with that at this time. Now, on the full moon, the Buddha literally, the story goes that the Buddha comes down to the earth plane and radiates. He doesn't literally touch down on earth, but he lowers his frequencies to the degree where if we have human beings in the 3D realm who who are trying to elevate their frequencies, it's like, I'll meet you halfway. You elevate your frequencies and I'll lower mine so that you can receive some of my teachings, so you can receive some of my radiations and my high vibes. All right, so we want to kind of embrace that. We want to kind of like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like there's someone in the hierarchy, there's a master who will come down and literally share their rays, all right, and their emanations. And oh my God, who wouldn't want that? Like, yes, let me have some of that. So we get in a frame of mind where we're ready to detach, where we're ready to release, where we're ready to allow our soul to control. Your chart literally is your soul's map. Your soul orchestrated this before you took the physical body. So when we understand that and we see our chart, we're like, whoa, this in essence is like this treasure map that my soul left behind. And if I can learn how to read it, I can find the treasures, right? The hidden treasures within. And if there's any full moon that talks about soul stuff, right? Soul layers, the depths. It's the Scorpio full moon, right? It's the Wesak full moon because it's the power of the soul. The soul comes through and says, you know what? We're doing this. Pluto has, I don't even know how to describe the word power. If I told you to describe the word power, what would you tell me, right? Could you comment? How would you describe power? There's just this strength that's beyond what I have words to describe. Because I know in my chart when I pay attention and I see Pluto training something and I'm aware and I pay attention to like how it feels. Like I'm aware of it, but I don't really have words to describe it. It's like you have this, it's power that's not yours, this ability to keep going, this reserve that's never ending, this strength and stamina. Does that mean I'm going ahead and I'm bench pressing? Like, no, it doesn't mean that. But it's whatever my desire is at that time. It's as though Pluto's, I don't even know how to explain it. I wish I had words to explain it. But there's just this power that we have all of a sudden. And our desire level, our intent, if we can weave them together, because remember, emotions are power. Scorpio is water and it's emotions. So there's a lot of power here. Taurus is our desire and our intent. So our ability to release, our intent and our ability to let something go. Now that full moon shines the light on it, shines the light on this thing that we're done with, this emotion that we're done, this fear that we're done with. So in your fourth house, there's, without a doubt, there's something, your emotional security, something about the home, you know, something that you've held on to, that it's time to process and time to at least begin working on the releasing of it, okay? Now, we go to the opposite side, and so that's your 10th house energy. That's your goals in the world, okay? That's your Taurus energy. And so we're going to embrace that, all right? It's your highest hopes, goals, and ambitions in the world. It is literally where you express your best. So you may have a, you know, this is a really great sign for someone, a professional singer. Taurus rules the voice, the spoken word. Taurus usually has information and has a message in some way, but it's a delivery where it wants it to be beautiful, where it wants it to be peaceful. Remember, Venus rules Taurus energy, okay? So our values come into play here, what we desire, and a reevaluation of our desires, reevaluation of all that's, you know, all of 2019 and 2020 is all about this, reevaluating what we need in our life, our needs versus our desires. That fourth house and having that Scorpio there and you being all deep and private, right? And really being super intimate in the home, deeply bonded with those that you consider family. Be a bond that would be unbreakable. Venus goes retrograde on the 13th, but Saturn goes retrograde on the 10th. So Saturn is in Aquarius energy going retrograde. This is your 7th house. Now, I've had some people that have contacted me, all right? And they've got Saturn going through their 7th house. Typically, when Saturn hits your descendant, if you are in a relationship, if you are married, if there have been problems, okay? If there have been things that you guys just could not resolve, couldn't get past, this is usually a time when people get divorced. The only way it wouldn't happen is if this was Saturn going there all of a sudden brought up something new. You know, not an old thing. If it was an old thing, it's a done deal. It's over with. But if you have a strong relationship, meaning, you know what, it's just been really good. You've been good for each other, supportive of each other, loving one another. You know, you have your own lives, but yet you have your life together, right? You're independently strong and happy, right? And you are emotionally stable within that relationship. Typically, there's not going to be any problems, right? There just might be some stresses and some testing. But if there were previous problems, these relationships usually end. Now, if Saturn retrogrades, find out what your descendant number is there, okay? Because if you've got Leo in your first house, Leo in your ascendant, and Aquarius in your seventh, well, Saturn's at 157. So 157 could be in your sixth house, all right? You could have 157 up in your seventh house somewhere and have, you know, you could very easily have a lot of Capricorn energy in your sixth house. So Saturn going backwards, Saturn goes all the way back to 25 degrees of Capricorn. So find out what houses this retrograde occurs in for you. All right, find out where those degrees are in your chart. When you know the houses that they're in, then we understand what areas of your life that this stuff happens in. Remember, Saturn brings restrictions and rules. So when Saturn leaves Aquarius energy, Aquarius is group energy. So when Saturn gets out of it, July, the beginning of July, the very beginning of July, end of June, seriously, like the last 2 days of June, beginning of July, Saturn starts dipping into the Aquarian energies, okay? I'm sorry, dipping into Capricorn energies. And when she does that, we're not going to have the restrictions that we have any longer on humanity, because Saturn will now be leaving that house or leaving the group energy. She'll be going back into Capricorn energy. So once Saturn gets into Capricorn energy, it's going to change. It's going to be restrictions in regarding to business, right? Restrictions regarding business, which makes sense, right? Everyone's going to be doing businesses differently. Saturn's goal isn't to say, hey, no more, but it's to say, hey, new rules. New rules because, right, of this other thing that happened. So we have to have new rules. We're going to have business, but new rules, all right? And unfortunately, some businesses will no longer be around. Check out where these degrees are in your chart. Saturn goes all the way back to 25 degrees. When you know where this is at, you will understand how this will affect you. Again, you don't know, comment below, all right? Now, we're going to touch on this Venus retrograde. She's going to be in Gemini. Now, where does this happen for you? Your Gemini energy is in your 11th house. Your 11th house is your groups, your friends. Remember, 11th house is the internet, right? 11th house is how you operate in a group. Well, you're communicating, talking, social media, internet, big time, big time, because it's Gemini in that house. Speaking, thinking, right? All this stuff is going to be there. With Venus there, there's a great love for that. There's this, I value this. But when Venus goes retrograde, she reevaluates that, okay? Which means you're going to be reevaluating your friends. So having Gemini energy in your 11th house, your siblings are considered your friends too, okay? You've got sibling energy in your 11th house. 11th house is friends and groups. And it's also, like I said, social media, but it's not just social media, it's how I'm doing business on social media. How am I using social media to do business? Because Gemini energy is trade. Gemini energy is sales, right? Gemini energy is networking, okay? Gemini is also the hands, right? It's crafty. It's the hands, it's the fingers. We could be, it's like trade, bartering, right? Gemini is our immediate environment, siblings, but can also be your peers, okay? Your neighbors, right? People in the neighborhood. When I think of trade and, you know, transactions, I think of those, like right in our environment, like the local farmers markets and stuff. The nodes are going to be going here. 2946 in Gemini already, okay? Which means we are already in the Gemini energy of local, right? Doing things locally, short distances, short journey. Well, with the North Node going through there, that means that's where we're headed. That's what we're going to be doing while the node's there. The node will be there for like 18 months. So for the next 18 months, right? Local, right? Business is local, right? No long journeys, no long distance traveling. local, right? North nodes emphasize Gemini energy, okay? Now, we also have to think about the internet at this time, because on the full moon, we're going to have Mercury at 20 degrees, and we're going to have the sun at 17. So when we think about communication and thinking, it's a little bit blurred. Mercury's covered up. Our ability to think logically and rationally is a little bit covered up. But we also have Venus in Gemini. Gemini's thinking. Venus is, I love communicating and talking, right? Gemini's also the internet, social media. But it's receiving a big square from Neptune. Neptune's at 20 degrees. Neptune in Pisces, 20 degrees, squaring Venus in Gemini at 2112. So what you want to do is be aware of any communications or any business dealings on the internet at this time. Now, this literally begins like the 4th of May. So all you want to do is make sure that if you're doing any business, if you're doing any credit card exchanging of numbers, that you're using reputable sites, places that you've always done business with, because Gemini is a quick learner, it's fast. And so when we have this happening, there might be people out there who might be a little misleading, who might be saying things that aren't 100% true. And it could be, it's that kind of energy where I love to communicate, I love to talk, I love to do business. And it's idealistic because Neptune's coming through. So many times when Neptune is involved and we're really ideal, we have this unrealistic view of something. Neptune is 5D. It's not the 3D. It's not the tangible. It's not the reality. So there could be some confusion. There could be, hey, I thought this was this. And it was like, no, I said it was right. There could be some things. So there could be intentional or unintentional misleadings when it comes to doing any business on the internet. All right, so keep that in mind, okay? I have written down internet fraud. So just pay attention. Local sharing, right? Co-ops, community groups, Gemini energy, trade, barter, local, hands-on. Going to become a big deal, a bigger deal for the rest of 2020 and next 18 months. It's going to be a big deal. That's actually a good thing for you. If you're going to be dealing with group energy, that's nice. That's really nice because you'll have internet within internet. So actually this would be super beneficial for you. See if you have anything trining that. See if you have anything squaring it, and that'll tell you how beneficial this will be for you. This is air energy. Gemini is air, mutable air. So you want to look for like elements in your chart, okay? Which means you're going to be looking at your Libra energy and you're going to be looking at your Aquarius energy. Those are all going to set up nice trines to the Gemini stuff, okay? Jupiter's going to go retrograde, in Capricorn with Saturn. So Saturn's dipping back into Capricorn. Pluto's already going retrograde in Capricorn, and now Jupiter's going to join in. All right, Jupiter on the 14th of May goes retrograde, and it goes retrograde, that's at 27:14, 27:10 in Capricorn. It goes all the way back to 17 degrees in Capricorn, okay? This takes a long time, folks. This isn't like some all of a sudden overnight or a one-day event. The only time it becomes like a 1 or a 2-day event is if you have a planet there that sits on it. But Jupiter's not real fast moving. Saturn is not real fast moving. And Pluto is very slow moving. All right. So the slower a planet is, the longer the event is. So if you have a square and it involves Pluto, it's not going to be quick because it's Pluto. Right. If you have a square and it involves like Mercury or Mars or Venus, they're short. Right? They're fast. They're just a one day or a couple of days, or the sun or the moon. They're just quick and intense and they're over with. But the longer, slowing moving planets, Pluto, Saturn takes 2.5 years to transit a sign. So it is a slower moving thing, meaning if it sets up a square with something, you're going to be feeling it. Okay. What does this mean for you? Your Capricorn energy is in your 6th house of health and work. Did you have any recent health issues? Like in the last 6 months? Was there anything that happened at work? Okay, if there was, these planets retrograding could very easily be going over some of those same spots in your chart, and you could be revisiting them. All right. I have a video about Pluto's retrograde. If you want to know if it's going to hit you, right? If you're going to have matching degrees, I go in depth with Pluto in that video. I talk about Pluto and its transit for the next 6 months, and I track where it goes. And I also do a comparison of the last 6 months and what it's done, what it did, what it went over, and how it affected people. And what you're going to want to do is listen to that video because that will tell you more information. I'll attach the link below so that you can watch it if you haven't. But again, this is areas of the 6th house, and 6th house is our work projects. It is work. It is our daily routines. It is our work routines. It is our health habits. You work like a dog. You know, you have the ability to be the CEO, the one in charge, the boss. You got Capricorn in your 6th house. Holy crap. So you constantly work, right? If you're at home, you're constantly finding work projects to do. That's just who you are, right? You want to tune into that 5th house. Your Sagittarian energy in your 5th house is how you feel free. It's how you escape. And I know that's really difficult right now because normally for you that would be traveling. So I'm sorry because we're not traveling. But there's different ways to travel. You can incorporate your mind to travel. You can travel there, all right? Find ways to connect in with your joy. And I know traveling is a big deal, but so is foreigners, foreign languages. You know, this is your Jupiter, this is your Sagittarius energy. Sagittariuses love to tell stories. If you don't like to tell stories in like writing, maybe you're a good storyteller. Maybe by speech you're good, you know, you can do it. You know, vlogging, doing what I'm doing, videos. Find something, even if you're like, but that's silly. I'm not really serious about that. But if you have fun doing it, then do it. It'll give you a way to feel free. And a Sagittarius, nothing is more important to them. And I'm saying this because this is what's in your 5th house. Okay, and you like spiritual things, that makes you feel, that gives you a sense of freedom. You love, you know, religion and philosophy and spirituality. That would make you feel good too. This is, your 5th house is where you tap into your joy. All right, this is where your joy meter pops in. And this is big for right now. When travel is restricted, you know, because this is where the South Node is. South Node is what we're releasing and letting go of. So you're learning, right? You're learning new ways. You're releasing all that stuff. You're saying, there's other ways that I can access joy, and I have to figure out what that is. And that's the whole point for all of us during being under a lockdown is, you know, if you can't go and do your usual, what's your backup plan? Do you have a backup to the backup? Like, that's kind of what this all is for all of us, okay? Now, there is one last thing I want to mention, and that is the full moon ceremony. If I already didn't mention it, that I am going to be holding. I am offering for all the subscribers to be involved in the full moon ceremony. I realize you can't come and be here, but I'm going to have a ceremonial fire outside. I build a sacred fire, and I create prayer ties. And if you would like to be a part of the ceremony, I'm offering my services. I am offering for you to be involved with us, Allastrology, and to be involved in the sacredness of connecting the fire with the air, with the earth, and with the water element of this full moon, and releasing that which we hold on to, releasing that which literally is a chain around us, and trying to understand better how to detach from our attachments. Okay, so all you got to do is in the comments down below, leave me your name, whatever name you want to use. Okay, you are the only one who has to know that it's your name. Just put a name, because you can ask for prayer ties for other people too. Just put a name, and right across from it, put a dash and put the word. Leave a one word. You know, some people put the word fear, which would be really good. Doubt for this full moon, right? Something I want to let go of. When I'm done with what I'm so ready to release, and I'm just letting it go. This is what this full moon's going to focus on. And so I'm offering my services to you so that you can be part of the Allastrology family and benefit from the energy of the higher frequencies on this time. So Leo Ascendant, Leo Rising, I hope this has put light on your path. Take care.